I have joining me via Skype from New York to discuss the U.S. controversial $1 trillion infrastructure bill. As a journalist, Africa-related OyizaAdaba, thank you so much for joining us on The World Now. If this legislation is enacted, it will be the largest U.S. infrastructure investment in decades. Talk to us about the anticipation of the U.S. citizens about this once-in-a-while project.
Thank you again for having me. Has indeed been the top of the agenda by the administration. Worked on this yesterday by senators associated with the White House. 2,700 pages of documents that was released that target, and it's historically never been done. It's the largest. And what is expected by the American people is infrastructure development that would benefit the economy and boost the economy of the U.S. This, of course, includes roads and bridges, which has 110 billion has been allocated to that, broadband and development and upgrading, and railways and the rail system and passenger freight. All of these are included in this bill, and no doubt, and that was why it was a bipartisan agreement that saw it come to light. And of course, the benefits to the American people, now we have about 84% of the public that publicly support this bill, of course, and the impact on the lives, the improvement on their lives in terms of these infrastructures is definitely one to be seen. According to the American Society of Civil Engineers, it's been 43% of roads in America need to be looked at. It has been 50 plus years since the bridges were looked at, and so this bill is expected to take some of these integral projects that form the American society and boosts the economy of this country, and take a look at them and also look at ways of upgrading them.
Right, that's for the U.S. citizens' anticipation. But then let's look at it, the Biden administration. If this legislation finally sails through, what would it mean for the Biden administration itself? Well,
what it means for the Biden administration is it's good. It's public support. It's definitely more votes. It's seeing some of the campaign promises that President Biden run for office come to fruition. What is not so good when you flip it on the Republican side is, again, public support and more votes for the Democrats if all of these carry on. But it's not all good news, because there have been some oppositions to this bill. There are House progressives, for example, that say that the bill is not enough. It doesn't tackle climate change and some of the issues associated with that. Some of the senior Democrats, for example, in the House, may oppose this bill on the basis of it doesn't really tackle that human infrastructure. What it just tackles is it's a huge amount, but it tackles only the infrastructure. The House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has also threatened somewhat that this bill would not pass unless if it's linked to the infrastructure, the human infrastructure bill, which is actually higher than what has been proposed. That is about 3.5 trillion, and that is coming up for negotiations and discussions, but is expected to pass possibly via reconciliation, which is a process that is hardly used in the House. But time will tell. We'll wait to see. There have been opposition, so it's not all support for the bill. But what is significant about it is that it crossed party lines. It's infrastructure that affects both Democrats and Republicans, thereby they were able to gain the support of both parties.
Right.
In
Right. Well, just like you said, this is a rare sign of bipartisanship because it has won early support from enough Republicans to begin debate on the bill. Do we often see the opposition parties agreeing on issues touching on human interest, really?
It depends on who is. If it's on human interest, they cross party lines, of course. The last time the reconciliation was used was to pass the COVID-19 bill. So it's not so much as it's really just political agendas that come to play. That is where you find the differences. But as far as some of these developments go and focus areas, I don't think it's rocket science for Americans to consider and look at this holistically and know that some of these areas do need help. The US, for example, it may surprise you to know that they still use the rail system in the US is still not comparable with countries like China and countries in Europe where you have the high-speed rail. So those are, President Biden being, a rail fan, I guess, has pumped 66 billion of this 1 trillion bill into upgrading the railroads. So it's left to be seen where the money is going to come from. Is the next conversation that is being had. But it's expected that the Democrats want to pass this as quickly as possible, while the Republicans are calling for a little bit of time and caution in finalizing this.
Well, we'll see the strides the Democrats are trying to get to make in the Biden administration and the efforts of the Republican altogether. But then we'll see how this is going to go at the end of the day. Journalist, Africa-related OyizaAdaba, thank you so much for speaking with us on The World Now.